So again, coming onto your chair, sitting on the sit bones, neutral spine, resting our hands on our thighs or our knees, and centering yourself on the breath. So an Ujjayi breath is an extension of your inhale and exhale. So we'll practice that once together. You're going to inhale for 4 through the nose, and then exhale for 4 through the mouth. So we're going to inhale again through the nose, and then this second time that we're exhaling out, trying to close off the throat. I know that sounds a little weird, but think of you're trying to fog up a mirror, but with your mouth closed. You're going to get this like heated breath at the throat, and that's what is kind of characteristic of a Ujjayi breath or ocean breath. So when you inhale, go ahead and make sure you inhale through the chest, diaphragm, and when you exhale through the nose, you're actually going to have your mouth closed, but try and fog up that imaginary mirror in front of you, and you're going to have this like rumbling vibration in your throat as you exhale. So again, at your own pace, we're going to inhale for 4, and exhale that ocean breath for 4. If you were in this room with me, you could probably hear me as Darth Vader exhaling there. But as you're doing this breathing exercise, what you want to tune into is actually your body and how each inhale and exhale feels. Are you a little tense in one area? Are you holding tension in your neck? Do you feel angry with your breath right now because it's not following what you're trying to get it to do? And that's okay, you're just tuning in. So you're gonna do 2 more of those Darth Vader breaths here. Your last one, we're going to come into a side stretch. So as you inhale, you're going to go ahead and lifting both arms up to the sky. You're going to grab your left wrist and bend and pull to the right. Breathing nice and steady here. Last exhale, and you're going to inhale, pulling yourself nice and straight again. Go ahead and take your left hand and grab your right wrist and gently stretch it to the left side here, and still breathing. Nice long steady breath. Feel that feeling the inhale to the right side body. One more long breath here. And as you inhale, go ahead and bring yourself nice and straight. I'm going to turn the chair around so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Might be a little bit easier. So we're going to go ahead and do that one more time. So inhaling, arms nice and straight. Go ahead and grab your left wrist. And as you exhale, stretch over to the right side. Feel that stretch through the left side body. And remember to breathe. I'm going to take 2 more long, steady breaths. And at your last inhale, you're going to go ahead and straighten yourself up. Go ahead and grab the right wrist and exhale down to the left side. So a lot of this exercising with your breath Try not to keep a shallow breath, but try to take that nice deep inhale, deep exhale out. You're not using just the top half of your body. Try to feel the rib cage and your intercostals also elevating when you take that breath in. So your last breath here. You're going to inhale, go ahead and straighten. This time as you exhale, we're going to come into our cactus arms. So just bending at the elbows and opening your heart here. So if you look left and right, you should have a nice little 90-degree angle here at your elbows. If it is a little tense or you have any shoulder injury, please don't force yourself into cactus arms. You can always stay in a Y. You can also just kind of have it out to a T. So always listening to your body throughout your practice. You want to be gentle. Okay. So as we stay here for 5 long breaths, we are focused on keeping the chest open, opening up that posture, and allowing the arms to get energized here. So I'm coming to my last exhale. And as you exhale, go ahead and just bring the arms flat and down. We're going to come into rotating our arms as well to get some mobility into our shoulders. And for this rotation, you're going to have them out to a T, palms facing down. And as you inhale, we're going to turn those palms facing upwards. Now, this is really easy to isolate for some people where they just move their wrists and nothing else. I'd like you to move the whole arm. So think of this one arm as one piece. When you rotate, the inner elbow as well as your forearm and the lower portion of your upper arm is going to turn face the ceiling. So same thing with the opposite side. Make sure you're opening out all portions of the arm. And as you exhale, go ahead and turn everything downwards. As we inhale, turning outwards, and exhaling, rotate down. And following your breath here, so nice long steady breath. As we rotate them up and down, try your best to keep your shoulders at the same height. You're not trying to crunch them upwards towards your earlobes, and you're also not trying to, when you round down, bringing your shoulder blades up. So a lot of proprioception here. We're just kind of feeling whereabouts our body is and just meeting ourselves where our arms want to take us today. So inhaling to turn up and exhaling to turn down. We're going to do 2 more here. 1 set and 2 set. And go ahead and bring them down. So if your arms feel like they're a little warm, that's a good thing. That means we've gotten the circulation going. The last one here to definitely help with the mobility here is called rainbow arms. So I'll just show you what that looks like here. Sideways. And it's kind of like a little twist as well. You're going to have both arms to the front of you. And as you inhale, you're going to open them and look back towards your right. And then exhale and come forward. And as you inhale, you're going to do the opposite with your left. And come forward. Okay. So we'll do that together. Arms nice and straight in front of you. And as we inhale, bring your right arm all the way back, looking back, and exhaling forward. And inhaling to look back to your left, and exhaling forward. So I know this isn't the rainbow part, but we'll get there. So inhaling, looking back, and exhaling forward. This is just to get that mobility into your arm where we open the shoulders. and also just following the breath with this motion. And our second portion is coming up once we get to this last exercise on the left. So instead of pulling it outwards, kind of like a door, we're now going to bring it as a rainbow all the way up and around. So you see why we started off with that kind of twist here to get your spine warmed up first, and now we're going to go ahead and do the full rainbow version here. So having our arms nice in front of us, as we inhale, bring the arm up and rotating to come behind us. We're going to look back and actually hold here as we breathe nice and steady. One more breath. And then inhaling, bring that arm forward and meeting the front. So we're going to go ahead and do 2 more here, but we're not going to hold it. So 2 breaths, right arm up and back. When you exhale, it comes down. You inhale, bring it up to the middle, and then exhale, come down. So 1 more here. And we'll go ahead and do the same thing on the left side here. So inhaling up and turning to look back. And we're going to hold here for 2 breaths. And then inhaling up and coming back to center. Now we're going to do these ones a little bit quicker. So as we inhale, come up, exhale, come down. Inhale, coming up to center, and exhaling down. 1 more here. So a lot of times we are in a very rigid position sitting, not getting into a lot of positions here because we're either driving, sitting at a computer, typing all day. This will help kind of bring that mobility back into your shoulders and your arms. So I was going to do one little exercise here for you to test out how mobile you are. So with your block or a book, what you want to do is hold that block. I'm going to go sideways so you can kind of see. Is holding it outwards and having your fingers pointing behind you. So this little test here, you're going to move this block forward. You're going to turn it, bring it down, and twist it towards you like you're turning a pizza. Now that it's behind you, bringing it up and turning it outwards all around your head and come back into the same position. Now I know that looked like dark magic, but essentially what you're doing with your hand, I'll bring it forward here. There we go. So let's try that again. So the block is, or the book that you're holding is going to be up above your head here, fingers away from you or fingers pointing behind your head. So when you turn, rotate the book first. So now you're holding it up in front of you, fingers forward. You're going to rotate, so you're bringing the book towards you like a hug. But instead of bringing it towards your chest, you're going to push it backwards until you come into like an Egyptian hand position. Now, if you're still with me, that's good. You're now going to rotate so the book is coming towards me. Now our fingers are facing outwards, turning back towards the front, up over my head. Now your palm is still facing upwards, right? And you'll come back into this position. So it's nice to kind of like test out your mobility in the morning or in the afternoon and see whereabouts you are. If you find there's a little bit of stiffness going on, it might not be a bad idea to do a couple of those stretches that we did earlier. So your cactus arms, that rainbow arm and rotation really help to get that mobility in. So once you start practicing and you can do that test, you can try to do both hands and rotate and twist around. But I'll let you do that on your own time. So definitely let me know how your arms feel after today. We're going to come into our seated twist here. So again, sitting nice and tall on your sit bones on the chair. This is just going to help neutralize the spine. When we find out that we are grounding into the sit bones, feet are nice and flat on the floor. And as we inhale, that's when you elongate the spine. Okay, so inhaling first, lengthen the spine. And then you're going to exhale, turning towards the back of the chair. I'm going to turn to my right first. Once you have that accessible and you can see the back of the chair, go ahead and hold on to the chair backing. So you've now twisted the lower spine here to look towards the chair. You're going to inhale and bring air into the spine, elongate it some more, and now turning to look over your right shoulder. So always inhaling to lengthen and then exhaling to twist. Inhaling to lengthen and exhaling to twist. You're going to stay here for one more breath. Nice and steady. Inhale to lengthen and exhale to untwist all the way forward. So just being really gentle to the spine. We're just getting that circulation going. So we're going to inhale again, nice and straight. And the first turn is from the lower half of your body, looking and grabbing the back of your chair. We're going to inhale again, and then turning the upper portion of our body towards the back of the chair. Inhaling to lengthen. Now going over your cervical spine, you're going to turn your neck and look over your left shoulder. Inhaling to lengthen and exhaling to turn. Going to be here for one more breath. Inhaling to lengthen and exhaling to untwist and come to center. We're going to go also into cat-cow. We've now wrung out our spine. We're going to actually do a couple curves in the spine as well, just to get that circulation in there. So cat-cow seated, you're going to go ahead and either hold on to the sides of your chair, or you can rest them up on top of your thigh. But as you inhale, you're going to come into your first cow by looking up to the sky and curving the back, opening the chest. And then as you exhale, you're going to look toward your belly button, rounding your back, and rounding the shoulders. So go ahead and inhale again to arch the back, round the shoulders back behind you, lifting and looking at the sky, and exhaling to round the back. So go ahead and do this at your own pace, cat-cow, following the breath. So you exhaling to round and inhaling to arch. We're going to do these two more here. And then we're going to do a couple wrist flexion and extension exercises here. So with your hands, you're going to have them forward. I'm going to do the right hand here first. Bring it up, because almost like you're doing a stop sign. Use your opposite hand to pull those fingers and bring them gently closer to your face, or in the direction towards your face. Don't touch your face. And just breathing into this. These are our wrist flexions. a lot of times we are doing a lot of things with our hands, but sometimes even repetitive motions are not good for the hands. No matter how flexible you are, there's not a lot of circulation going into the wrists. If we're not kind of doing rotations or moving them around. Not only that, we could also cut off circulation if we're in one position for too long. It's just leaving a lot of mineral deposits. So this wrist flexion here is just going to help kind of open that up. So from here, we're going to go ahead and do a wrist extension. That's just the opposite. So instead of the fingers upwards, we're going to have the fingers pointing downwards. Nice straight arm. So nice line from the shoulder to elbow to this bend in your wrist. Go ahead and grab the fingers and just pull them gently towards you again. And you should be able to feel a stretch through the forearm. So nice steady breaths here. We're going to do the same thing, but on the left side. So go ahead and exhale, lay that arm down. We're going to have our left arm up, or the opposite arm, whichever one you haven't done yet. Fingers up like you are a stop sign, and go ahead and grab those fingers and gently pulling towards you. So this can also work really well if you have a table close by. You can have your hands on the table and just lean forward. And also, even on the floor, if you're kneeling on the floor, you can use the mat. Push into the mat and then lean forward. And you'll get the same wrist flexions here. Go ahead and let the fingers go. We're going to come down and do a wrist extension. So I find I can also hold on to the whole palm and help kind of guide it to bring the fingers closer to me. As long as you're feeling a nice gentle stretch here, nothing too painful in your forearm, then you can stay. One more long steady breath here. And then we'll come into a couple neck rolls here to help the neck kind of stretch out. Turn the chair here. So from here, we're going to go ahead and inhale and lengthen first, and holding on to the bottom of our chair, we're going to bring our right ear towards our right shoulder. And if you do feel like you're able to get a stronger stretch, don't pull, but using your right hand, you can just place that on top of your earlobe, or sorry, the top of your left ear, and just gently bring it a little bit closer towards your shoulder. Go ahead and stay here for one more breath. And then inhaling to straighten. And you're going to go ahead and hold on, instead of to the bottom of the chair, you're going to hold on to the diagonally to the back of the chair. So your arm should be pulling a little bit down and back. From here, you're going to turn, looking towards your right armpit, bring your chin down towards that right armpit and hold. Again, if available to you, you can use that right arm and hold on to the back of your head and gently bring your chin closer to your armpit. Or you can just let gravity do its job and allow that stress to release from your neck. Last breath here. You're going to inhale, looking up and turning center. Same thing on the opposite side, so go ahead and find that seat underneath of you with your right hand, lengthening and then bending. Bring that ear nice and close or towards your left shoulder here. Enough, a lot of the tension in your neck can be related back to bad posture. You may not notice it, but by the end of the day, if you've been sitting hunched over or maybe kneeling or just using one side too much, that stress tends to linger in your neck. So it's nice just to give it a break here. Go ahead and inhale, looking straight, and then bring your arm to the back of your chair, just kind of like underneath the corners, looking towards your left side, armpit, and then bring your chin down towards the armpit. Again, if you like using your left hand, you can kind of guide it, bring your chin closer, or you can just let it work its way with gravity. Nice and gentle here. And at your next inhale, go ahead and looking up and turning center. We're going to do one more stretch here that'll help with that posture, and that is making a fist and bring it behind your chair. So you might need to move, scooch on back towards your chair, but you're essentially going to have fists first, and having the front of your fist facing forward, bring it up to a T and bring it back behind your chair, bending at your elbows and bringing your fists together. So I know you can do this without the chair. It'll be a lot easier, but your shoulders are going to roll forward. So the back of the chair is going to help you keep your back nice and open, or your chest open and your back straight. So you can lean on the back of your chair if you'd like. But when we're here, you're going to push those fists together. And feeling the muscles kind of working here to open that chest and rotating your shoulders back behind you. And we're going to be here for 5 breaths. And every exhale here, try to find space between your earlobes and your shoulders. Intentionally try to bring your shoulders lower and behind you. And at your last breath here, you can go ahead and unclench those fists and rotate your arms forward and resting them on your thigh. We're going to come into marching here and working on our core a little bit here as we're sitting. And what we want to try first is sitting up on your chair here. If you can hold on to the sides of your chair, that's perfect to give you a little bit of balance. And before we get started, you want to make sure that we're tucking in the belly button. So feel as if someone is pulling a string above you and elongating your spine. And then there's also another string attached to your belly button and it's getting sucked in through your spine here. So you're getting pulled inwards and up. So as we have that nice little core working here, you're going to go ahead and start marching your feet. Sometimes it's easier to have your hands on your belly to kind of feel it kind of tense. And isolating here, you're not bending forward at all here. We're going to keep nice and tall, and we're going to lift the right knee up towards our chest. Now you can go ahead and lift all the way if you'd like to, or you can just lift it a little bit. And once you kind of feel that tightness in your stomach when you're doing this, or in your core, you know you're working the right muscle. So often we start using the wrong muscles to lift our legs, and that's when the back starts to hurt. So right, left, just lifting the legs as high as you need until you feel that nice little tension in your stomach or in the lower abdomen. And then just to work on the top abs here, and we'll go over what we're going to do. Keep on marching there. We're going to have our fingers up to our ears. And instead of going left, right, when we bring our right foot up, we're going to do 2. And the third one, we're actually going to crunch down and touch our left elbow to our right knee. So try that with your left here. So the first 2 are just lifts to keep that core tight. Last one here, we're actually going to crunch, twist, and touch the elbow to our knee and down. So let's try the right side together. Lift 1, 2, and then crunch 3 and hold. All the way down. Lifting the left, 1, 2, and then lift to crunch and hold. And coming down. So for the first 2, you're not moving your spine here. This third one here, you are rotating and you're crunching forward. So it's okay to move and bend at your chest here. But the first 2 lifts here is what we're going to use to tighten the core. And then the twist to work on the upper and the midsections here. Good. We'll do that one more time. Lift, and twist. I'm going to stay here for 2 breaths. And then lower. Go ahead and do the opposite side. Lift, and twist. And 2 breaths, long and steady. At your last exhale, go ahead and lower that hand, or lower the foot, and lower your hands. And we're going to come into something that will help kind of bring the circulation into our feet now. So part of that is making sure that we can flex our ankles. I'm going to use the right foot first. So straighten out that leg. If you can lift that leg as well, try to bend so the toes are coming towards you and you're flexing. And then you're going to start pointing your toe as well. So slowly you're going to straighten that foot, but keep the toes facing you as long as you can until you can't anymore, and then go ahead and point your toes forward. You can go ahead and flex all the way again, toes towards you, and then slowly unraveling the foot. Toes are the last thing to come down, and once you can't anymore, go ahead and point the toes forward. flex here, stretching out the hamstring. Bring those toes nice and close towards your face, and then slowly, slowly, slowly straightening the foot first, and then straightening the toes. Do that one more time. Flex. And then our little plantar flexion, nice and straight, and go ahead and point. We're going to do the same thing, but on the left foot here. So plant that right foot down and straightening out that left foot. Go ahead and bring those toes nice and close to your face. Feeling that stretch in the hamstring, and then go ahead and try to straighten that foot. And the last thing to come down are your toes. Point, and then flex back up. Are we breathing here? Or are we really focused? Making sure we've got that breath going. And flexing up. And slowly straightening. Toes are the last thing to come down. Do one more here. I think I've lost count, but I feel like we're on the last one. I might be wrong. Perfect. So go ahead and bring that foot down to meet the other on the mat, and we're going to come into Gait Pose, but with the chair, or Purgasan. So I'm going to go ahead and bring the chair around so you can see. But Gait Pose looks something like this. So I will get you there. You're going to go ahead and kind of sit near the right corner of your chair so that your right hip is a little bit kind of hanging off, and you're going to stick that right leg all the way out. And what you want to focus on here is actually having a little bit over here. So you're seated on your left hip right now. Your left knee is forward, and you can still see your toes if you were to lean over for your left foot, so you're not over extending that knee. And the right foot here, you're going to have it turned outwards. So you should be able to have your knee and your toes all in one line. And best if you actually had it a little bit to the side here. So if you were to put your hand on your hip, you can actually feel or look down and you have a straight line this way. And this is a really good exercise to start externally rotating your hip here. So once we had that, you can also have a bend in your knee if you'd like, but if you can straighten it, perfect. So from here, you're going to inhale your left arm up nice and tall. Remember, we're elongating stuff first, and then we're going to slide our right hand down towards our shin and reach towards the diagonal here with your left arm. And this is Gait Pose. So in Gait Pose, what's really important here is you're trying to open the shoulder. So as we lean towards this right leg, you're not going to try to round everything forward. You're going to try to keep that left shoulder peeled back and open. You have an open heart, and you should be able to also feel a stretch here along that left side body. Staying here for 2 breaths. At your last inhale, go ahead and straighten yourself up and exhale that arm down. So go ahead and we'll get into the other side. So again, I'm going to be sitting on my right hip now, knee facing forward, bending over so that we can still see our toes. We're not bending the knees past our toes. Okay. And sticking our left leg outwards. And you're going to rotate that inner thigh so it's facing outwards towards you. Go ahead and have the heel down and then the toes down. So we're in a nice straight line. You can have a bend in your leg if you need. Okay. So once we're here, make sure that thigh stays nice and externally rotated. Inhale your right arm up, and sliding that left arm down, we're going to stretch over to our left side. Feeling the breath through the right side body here. And we're also going to be here for 2 long, steady breaths. And our last inhale, go ahead and straighten outwards and bring that right arm down. Go ahead and gently bring that left foot in, and we'll come into our warrior 2. Also, something that opens up or externally rotates our hip here. So to get into warrior 2, we're going to go ahead and have our whole left thigh seated on the edge of your chair, and your left knee is going to be facing to the edge of your short edge of your mat. Once we have that position here, you're going to swing that right leg all the way back behind you, and we're going to get into our warrior 2. So how to do that? Right now, this is warrior 1. Warrior 2, your hips are going to be opening and facing the long edge here of your mat or me. So to do that, you're actually going to make sure that this foot, when you're looking down, the inner arch of your right foot is going to be in a straight line towards your left heel. So for that, I actually am more on the corner of my chair and pretty much scooting over, so just my bum, my left bum, is sitting on the chair here. So make sure you've got that nice little foundation pose first. Is inner arch, back foot in line with the heel of your front foot. So with this, you can actually feel your hips are opening and rotating, just making sure that they're facing the front of your mat. So from here, go ahead and inhale your arms to a nice T, and opening the shoulders, opening the chest. We are in warrior 2 on the chair. From here, extended side angle, you're going to lean forward, resting your left arm on the knee, and inhaling, we're going to bring that right arm down and all the way up, diagonal to you, and we're going to stay here for a couple breaths. So you want to feel like you have a nice straight line from your fingertips to the outside of the right foot behind you. So last breath. As you inhale, you're going to roll up, have both arms back out to a T in warrior 2. Go ahead and rest this right hand on the back of the thigh on the right side. Rotate the left hand so it's facing upwards. And then inhale, little back bend here, you're in reverse warrior. And breathing here. At your last breath here, you're going to inhale and come back into warrior 2. Exhale, come forward, come into your extended side angle. Breathe. You're going to go ahead and inhale and come up. Warrior 2. Resting that back arm, rotating the front one. Inhale and come into your reverse warrior. Breathing here. At your next inhale, go ahead and bring yourself up. And exhale the arms down. Go ahead and help that back leg come forward. And we're going to do the opposite side. So seated on the edge of your chair, more like on the left corner of your chair. gonna swing that left leg back. Go ahead and find your foundation here first. So your right knee is bent and over the middle toes. Okay. If you look over and you can't see your toes, you're gonna have to scoot your toes a little bit more forward, okay? And then of course, your front heel to the inner arch of your back foot. And then go ahead and have your hands on your hips. If they are not facing the long edge of your mat, go ahead and bring them so that they're nice and wide and facing the front of that long edge. Once we're here, go ahead and inhale your arms up to a T, warrior two. You're gonna go a little faster on this side. So exhaling, you're gonna lean forward, swing that arm up into extended side angle, staying here for a couple breaths. And at your next inhale, round and windmill your arms out into warrior two. Exhaling, resting that back arm and rotating that right up towards the sky. Back bend into reverse warrior. Inhaling to come up, following the breath. Exhaling, you can go ahead and get into extended side angle by bringing your arm down and up. You can also do the back and around. Staying here for a couple breaths. And then go ahead and inhale into warrior two. And then exhale, back bend into reverse warrior. Staying here for a couple breaths. And inhale to come up, warrior two, bring your arms down, help that back leg inwards, and we're gonna come into our down dog seated. And we do have a couple options here. So the first one is with you seated on a chair, nice and stable on the sit bones. You're gonna have your blocks nice and handy, one on either side of your feet, just a little bit above in front of the toes. And with down dog, you're going to bring your belly button and stomach nice and close to your thigh. Reach forward for those blocks. So nice single blocks, you have 3 different heights here. You can choose. Okay, so whichever one's calling to you, go ahead and have that height there. Reaching it a little bit more forward once you have the height that you need, and you're going to breathe into this, bring your chest, aiming it towards your thigh and stretching out the back. You should feel a stretch to the arms as well. So this is option 1, seated dog. Just making sure you're breathing here. And your other options here for down dog here is standing, facing your chair, having your hands on the seat, and start walking your feet back until you feel like your back is nice and straight. Your feet are hip width distance apart, and again, you're aiming your chest for your thighs, straightening out the back. So you should be able to feel a full body stretch here. Mostly in the legs, but also upper body and arms. So this is option number 2. And I'm going to sneak to the back here. Option number 3. You're going to have a little bit higher, having your hands on top of the back of the chair, also walking your legs back until you have a nice straight back. And again, aiming your chest down and trying to bring your belly button nice and close to your thigh, and you're lifting your hips. So all 3 are down dog. So you want to choose the one that's giving you the best comfortable, uncomfortable position. one that you can hold with your breath. And that is something that will help kind of open up the back muscles as well and give your hamstrings a really good stretch. So I'm going to come back into seated down dog here. Hopefully you had a chance to try all three. If not, that's okay, you can come back to it. But at your next inhale, go ahead and lift yourself up or walk in from your down dog. And we're going to come into our figure four. So figure four helps us kind of open up that hip flexor. So sitting up nice and tall on your sit bones, go ahead and bring your right ankle and place it on top of the left knee. So you've got a figure four. And from here, if you already feel a nice stretch through that right hip, you can stay exactly where you are. If you can't have your ankle this high, you can definitely also cross a little bit lower by lengthening that bottom leg and then just resting the ankle on top of ankle like this. So whichever one's calling to you. So once we're here, we're going to exhale and we're going to hinge at our hip and come forward. So you're going to bring your chest nice and close to that right shin. And every exhale, if you can, try to bend a little bit more. Allow that knee to just fall to the side. Just to protect the knee as well, you can keep that right foot nice and flexed. I like to have my hand against or my palm against my foot so it stays in a flexed position, it's not pointing. And just breathing here takes a while for the body to adjust. But whatever tension that you might feel in your hip, you're just going to gently guide your breath there. And every exhale, try to relieve the tension. Our hips are a pretty big joint here in our body, and this is also one of the bigger areas that hold a lot of our stress. So you may have to hold this position just a little bit longer. Just allowing that stress to dissipate. Last breath here. Unhinge at your hips, coming up. Gently bring that right foot down and we're going to replace it. Left ankle on right knee. And either staying up here and just allowing that left hip flexor to open, or if available to you, start to hinge at your hip and bring your chest nice and close to the shin. I've got my right palm here against that left foot to flex. I find sometimes I can also feel a stronger kind of pull or a stretch if I reach both hands forward. So go ahead and try that too if you feel like you need that little oomph here in this figure four position. But again, keep on breathing. Allow the breath to go its course. Breathing out any tension that's left in that hip. I know we did start a little bit late here, so we're going to end a little late, but if If you do need to leave, feel free. I won't take it personally. Last breath here. As we inhale, go ahead and unhinge at your hip and gently bring that ankle up and over back onto the floor. And from here, we're going to be standing and we're going to do a quick quad stretch as well. So holding on to the back of our chairs, you're going to bring that balance onto the right leg and hold on to the left ankle with your left hand. And trying to keep the headlights, imaginary headlights on your hip facing towards your chair. So if available to you once you're here, we're going to come into almost part dancer, king dancer pose here. You're going to lift that left leg a little bit higher, and when you push, you're going to open up this left shoulder and balance. So this is more of a shoulder opener than a balancing pose, and really a quad stretch. So we can do both, where we're balancing first, bringing that knee down, and then bring your heel to touch your sit bone and stretching out that quad. Breathing here. And then we're going to end in our dancer pose again. So standing up nice and tall. Go ahead and push that leg back behind you and open up that left shoulder, using the chair as balance here. All of these balancing poses or weight-bearing poses where we're standing helps to prevent osteoporosis, because any weight-bearing poses, it allows your body to lay down bone or new bone. Go ahead and exhale, bring that knee in, gently let go, and we'll do the opposite leg. So weight on the left, bending the right knee, bring that heel as nice and tight as you can towards your tailbone and hold, feeling that stretch through the quad. And from here, coming into our dancer pose, hold on to the back of the chair for balance and push that leg outwards until you can feel an opening peel of your right shoulder. And hold. And I know a lot of the times with King Dancer, when we push our foot backwards to open, you might notice your hip go flying backwards just to open up the shoulder. Try not to do that. That's why we've got the chair, and that's why I had you imagine that you've got imaginary headlights on each hip bone. So when you lift that foot up, both those headlights are either going to shine downwards and straight ahead, but they're not going to tilt to the side, and they're not going to go swinging away from you. So they're always shining forwards as best as you can and nice and level. So go ahead and bring your foot back, knee inwards, touching the other knee and the heel in to stretch your quad. So this was our peak pose of the day. All of the other stretches we did were just to warm us up so that we were ready to strengthen and mobilize everything into King Dancer. All right, so last King Dancer of the day. Push that foot outwards. Try and balance yourself and also have your hip bones facing forward. Open that right shoulder, opening the heart. And tilt forward a little here as you're holding on. And then last but not least, are we breathing? A lot of things on that checklist. And all the while, your body is packing down bone into that supporting leg. Because you're using it, you're utilizing it, you're making it work. So it does strengthen the leg muscles and the ankles as you balance here. And hopefully one day you can go ahead and let go of the chair. Just have your hand forward, opening the palm in a receiving position. But if not today, that's okay. We can always come back to it. So go ahead and relax, bring that leg down. And we're going to come to a seated position here. And we'll just guide you through a mini Shavasan or mini corpse pose on the chair. So sitting up nice and tall here on your sit bones. You can actually rest your back on the back of the chair for this. You just want to get into a nice little comfy position. Feet are nice and flat on the floor, or if you do need it, feet are flat on your blocks, whichever one is available to you. Once we have that, go ahead and rest your hands on your thigh and gently closing your eyes or just having a light gaze ahead of you, not really focusing on anything. So kind of like a full cycle here. We started with our breath. I'm going to guide you to come back. We're going to end our practice here with our breath. So not so much controlling that breath anymore. You're just going to let that breath come to a regular inhale, exhale. Just gently observing the air coming in and getting expelled with no control. And starting from the top of our head, you're going to release any tension in your eyebrows. And go ahead and unclench your jaw if you were doing so, allowing the muscles to relax there. The shoulders, if there's any residual tension here, just going to try to let that go. Relaxing the hands and the fingers. If you're too tight in the hips, just letting that go as well. You're going to soften the belly and letting the thighs relax, the knees. Letting your heels as well as the ankles relax, releasing any tension there, and then last of your toes. If you're gripping the mat too tightly with your toes, just let that go. Nice and loose. So while you're sitting here in Shavasan, you're just allowing the body to rejuvenate, the mind to rejuvenate. And the nervous system is going to absorb all the little good things that we just did in all of our asanas and our stretches today on the chair. So just allowing the body to do that. Being with your breath, being present. If there's any thoughts that are kind of floating around, going to get you to gently acknowledge them and then put them to the side. You're going to get back to those later. But your mind is usually on all the time. You're just going to allow this one small moment in Shavasana to let it be off. And sometimes this is the hardest part, is letting it go. So if you find yourself still mind wandering around, following a train of thought, just think of your breath. And I know it's a little quick today, but you're more than welcome to stay in Shavasana for a little bit. But I'm going to guide those of you who are ready to come out of Shavasana, and we'll wiggle our fingers, wiggle our toes, just to get our presence back into the room. Bringing our presence to our chair. Take a nice deep inhale. And sighing it out. Gently blink your eyes open if they were closed. And we are finished our full body chair yoga today. So thank you everyone for coming. Just to kind of seal in that practice, if you can bring your hands to center, having just thoughts, or bring your hands to the forehead, having thoughts of compassion for each other and ourselves, and bring it down to our mouths, speaking compassionate things to each other and ourselves, and then back to heart center. Just being compassionate towards ourselves, just being open to that. So thanks for making that time for yourself to be here. And it was an honor teaching you. Namaste.